Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Nathan's 3D Factory. In this episode we're going to do a quick rig on this umbrella. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as, and I've done a little experimenting on this before, but I want to get you all started on rigging this bad boy up, okay? So first of all, what we need to do is that we need to get this stock so it's rigged, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the smaller pieces. So we'll take this actuator, or whatever you want to call this. That's what I'm calling it. And then we'll start extending the framework out on each of these pieces, okay? So we'll start out with adding a bone. We'll do an armature. And I just want to do this as a single bone, okay? I'm not going to do a quadruped or a human rig or anything like that. So, all right. So I want this at 0, 0 here, okay? 0, 0, 0, I should say. Okay, now I'm going to tab into edit mode. And then I want to grab that along the Z-axis. Okay, there we go. And I'll get it to about there. And then that'll be what we do to parent the entire thing here. So I'll take this, and I'm just going to parent it to the bone. I want to keep rigid body physics with this stuff, or rigid rigging and everything. So now I got that. Obviously, we're going to be parenting the rest of this stuff. But for the moment, what we want to do is build a framework, and then I'll get into other stuff in later episodes where I do the constraints and all that fun stuff to get this thing rigged up so that we can use this to open and close this, okay? So now I just want to go into my wireframe for the moment. Okay. And then I want to do cursor to selected. I'm going to tab into edit mode again. And then I'm going to have another bone added here. Let's see. Okay. So now we got that. And we can adjust the size of these bones as we go. Okay. And then what I want to do is take this item and then shift select, not that one. Okay. And then I'll go in and I will select this individual bone. Control P. Now let's see. Okay, so now Control P, bone. So now if I go into pose mode, this should take care of this guy. Okay? All right, so there we go. So now we have this item parenting the actuator, okay? So now that we have that, what we can do is we can also limit what kind of transforms happen on this, okay? So what I found out that was the best was to go into local transform on this, okay? So what I want to do is I want to look at the gizmo, and so I can do the move gizmo here, and then that'll show me which axes are going which way on these bones, okay? So on this, I can see that the y-axis, the local y, is what we're going to use to move this up and down. The others, we're just going to limit, okay? So we're going to lock the x, and we're going to lock the z. And then we should just be left over with the y. There we go. There. Now we have that. All right. Then obviously this is going to move around, and all that's going to move with it. Okay, you'll also notice though that this does not move with it. So what we need to do is we need to get this bone parented to this bone. Control P, and I want to keep the offset. Otherwise it's going to link. We don't want to do that. Now, if I move this around, then that moves this around with it. So there we go. Okay. So now I can just move this, or I move this and all that goes with it. Okay, so next thing that I want to do is that I want to take all these guys, this, 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 and this, and I want to make a skeleton with those. And I'm just going to branch them off of this actuator here. Now, as I look at the constraints in a later episode, we're going to look at if we're going to have to reverse any bones or do any of that stuff, so that we, if we have to reverse any order on it, right? So, anyway, so let's look at this on the side view. So for the moment, I'm going to focus on this. I want to have the top of this bone matching up with the top of this actuator. Okay. And then I'm going to extrude that. So this isn't exact yet, but it gives us the idea of what we need to be doing. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate this, Shift D. Okay, and then take this down to here. So now we have some bones there. No, we don't want to do that. Shift D, Z. Okay. And then from this, I'm going to extrude by pressing E. Okay. All right. Okay, and from what I see there, I need to actually get this out to here. So, didn't quite have it all the way correct yet, but we'll fix that, right? Okay, so this is the kind of stuff, it's just so much fun. Okay, let's see. So now, if I take this along the y-axis, then this kind of gets us so that we get where we need to go, okay? Okay, so there we go. So, gets us somewhere there. All right, so that gives us kind of the beginning of our rig. So I'll just do some repeated processes as we go. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up for now. And then what we'll do then is that we'll go through on the next part of this where we'll just rotate this around the axis. And then we're also going to start adding constraints. So thank you so much for tuning in to Nathan's 3D Factory. I hope you have a great day, that you like, you subscribe, you comment. And make sure to check out nathans3dfactory.com for some of my 3D printed products that I've got going on. Thank you so much again, and have a great day. See ya.